I really appreciate that you are I really appreciate that you have come to for like it's weekend and you might be having your own Netflix commitments. But anyways, so yeah, let's dive into the presentation. So before like starting, let me talk a little bit about myself. I am Anushk. I am from Ahmedabad. I'm a high school sophomore at St. Xavier's High School, and I'm into cybersecurity and hacking since like 2 years or something. And yeah, I really enjoy it. If you like ever want to like ask me anything or like connect with me on LinkedIn or for anything, like I've put my social media here, and like I'll like I guess they would be there in the chat. So yeah, you can surely connect with me there. So yeah, it's this slide is like kind of index for what I'll be speaking for the next 10-15 minutes. So first of all, I'll be like talking about my journey, about how I learned things which like I have learned. Then it would be like uh, I'd be talking about some skills that you might need, like if you want to pursue hacking or cybersecurity. Like I cannot like say that for you that this is the right choice for you, but I can surely suggest like these are some of the qualities that you can have to be a good hacker or a good cybersecurity expert. Now, and I will also be presenting to you some good places where you can kickstart, like if you want to learn, or some good communities where you can always ask for help. And then I'll be talking about some opportunities that you might be having in future if you are taking cybersecurity or hacking for future, and or pursuing it in your university or something. And lastly, there's time for a Q&A session where I'll be entertaining all your questions. I hope that's fine with all. And yeah, before starting with the presentation, like I've put some memes there. I know it's like in during the weekend, joining in for a webinar can be boring. So I thought of like starting the presentation with some funny memes. If you might have gone through them, I guess I can continue. So yeah, during the whole presentation, that would be around 15-20 minutes, I'll be talking about three things that would be cybersecurity, ethical hacking, and hacking. So these are the definitions of them. Like I've just copy pasted from Wikipedia's. Hacking is like, as we all know, we have seen in movies and places where someone tries to goes and takes away data, and or like gains access where he should not be fundamentally have access to. So that's hacking. Ethical hacking is someone who is a hacker but is working with his own ethics. For example, if someone is employed from a company and he's testing his own softwares for vulnerabilities and exploiting them for their own good, then it's ethical hacking and not hacking. So like these two terms are kind of confusing, but like are different from each other. And cybersecurity at the end is like the management of all the security that you have in your company or the organization. So that's cybersecurity. Like if you can, then you can please like go through the definition of them, and yeah, we can continue because I'll be speaking a lot about these three terms. So yeah, do that please. I guess I can move on if everyone's completed. So yeah, let's move on. So I'll be talking about my journey now. So I learned ethical hacking from a Udemy course 2 years back when I was in middle school. Like today, if I like think back, I don't know how I even did that, cause like when I was in like it's really hard to expect something from a first boy from middle school, and like learning something so rigorous would is like today I see myself and like I'm kind of shocked that how did I do that. But so, and like during that time I did not have much of resources, like no one in my friend circle, or like not my parents and not any teachers in my school are too much into like hacking cybersecurity, and like they are in general they are not really into much tech. And so the only resource that I had was the internet, and I learned everything from my own. After that, I was part of a hackathon which was organized by Microsoft and Irvine University. And luckily I even won that, so that seriously gave me a boost to pursue this. And during that hackathon I really met some amazing people from like around the world. I met people from Denmark, Sweden, Australia who are really passionate about the cybersecurity. And they were like they are kind of shocked to see me, because like as the only high schooler in the whole hackathon and luckily like I was also in the winning team of the hackathon, so people were kind of shocked. After that I also took some courses from Coursera, like though they were not certified like Udemy, but still like I went through some of the courses. One of them was cybersecurity incident response plan. I'll talk about this more later in the presentation. And finally I'm currently working in an NGO named Data for Humanity, and I'm the current post of education director there. And what my work is to like create content on things happening around the world with related with data. For example, if you might be knowing that there were protests in Hong Kong about the data laws that were changed by the Chinese government, and there was a huge UN cry about that. So like currently we are having a story on that, and we are creating YouTube video and content. I'll talk more about this organization Data for Humanity in further slides, because if you want to join them, if you want to join this organization, the organization is like really amazing and they would be really welcoming to you. So now we come to the point where like you ask yourself, like, is hacking or cybersecurity for you? I've had like many people ask me like, how do I know if I want to pursue this? So I am not the person who is going to say, yeah, you do this, but I can surely recommend some of the skills that you might need for ethical hacking. So starting off, patience is some of one of the really important thing, because like the UI that you will be working on is would be really boring. And like if you might have gone through the command prompt and terminal system in your Mac or Windows PC, and like imagine working there for like 10-12 hours, that's certainly big tasks. So yeah, patience is something that is really needed for learning anything new, and especially for something like ethical hacking. Then comes the your determination. So like there are people who just tell me like I want to hack my friend's Instagram account, so and like teach me how to hack, and that's totally wrong approach to learning something. And we should always look at the process and like why exactly. Like for me, I'm really a tech enthusiastic, so I just went to some I did some courses, and I found that it's something that surely interests me. After that comes good computer know-how. So like we all know that with the pandemic everyone knows like good amount of computing, and I guess this would not be much of a problem, but you still need to know what's IP address, MAC address, how to change the WPA thing and change your routing to monitor mode and all the SQL injection stuff. So like though they are in the course, but you might need some basic computational learning of like how things really work and where to find which resources. And this one is maybe funny, but like googling is like a lot, it's a lot, it takes a lot of time to just go surf the internet. So to be effective googler is something that I've learned during these years, because like for every problem that I encounter, the first thing I think of is like Google. And I spent countless amount of time googling from this website to this website for this problem. So maybe so it googling is something that is really a big part of learning hacking or cybersecurity. And the last one is like the ability to work in a boring UI. As I just told you that if you were to spend your life in command prompt or terminal, if it's MacBook, then maybe it's not for everyone, because like not everyone can just type stuff on a command prompt. And like if even if there's a like really minor mistake of a full stop or something, and the whole thing does not work, and you just trying to figuring out how the things are. Now, skills for cybersecurity, and like, cybersecurity is currently easier and like a lot different from ethical hacking. So to to learn cybersecurity, you might need some interest in advocacy. Like for example, uh, to be a someone who wants to pursue cybersecurity, or one of the major tasks would be like following UN's guidelines on the new data laws. So you might have to go through like hundreds of pages of research, and like there are papers published in from the UN site, so you might have to like read that often. So you might need some interest in advocacy. And the second part is good decision making power. So one of the, like, let me explain this to you with an example. So the one of the jobs for a cyber security is cyber disaster response management. So there, what your basic job is to like negotiate with the hackers on like what's real and what's not real. So you might have to make some really big decisions for your company. And so yeah, you really need good decision making power. And last but not the least, vigilance. You need to be vigilant about what's happening in the society, what's going on with the data laws, and where is my data going, which cookies store what information, and all those information is like really important for you to know if you are further going to pursue cybersecurity. Now, to kickstart, like I can recommend you some of the resources, and first of them was like what I did personally. That was take a course on edX, Coursera, Udemy, or even YouTube. They are really amazing, and the one I took on Udemy, which I'd be like talking about in further slides, was like really amazing, and I really recommend you to check that out if you are interested in cybersecurity. Another thing is you can join a local hack community or an online club. For me, I'm in India, so I don't really like. I guess I'm the only high schooler from my city who is an ethical hacker. I don't really know, but I've never seen people like talking about this. So there aren't many communities. But like if you're from countries like Denmark, Sweden, or like if you are reside in US, there might be local communities where you can be a part of. Another place which would be a good resource would be online clubs. So I am in a club named Hack Club, which I'll be talking about further. So yeah, that has helped me a lot because like I met a lot of people and like asking them how you figure out this and how you do that, and that's really important. Another thing is to attend meetups and webinars. So it's also an important part. Like you all are currently attending a webinar, but meetups is also another thing that you might want to consider. And you might find many of the things that are going, and especially with everything going online, there are many things going. Just you need to know like which things are happening where, and some of the places where you can find this is like allevents.com or meetup. And these places have like I personally use them, and they have helped me a lot. And another thing, you can join a local class for training on ethical hacking. For my place, there aren't any classes like near my area, so the only resource I had was taking a course. But if you can manage some like in-person classes, then that would be just amazing. And lastly, you can join an organization like the one I told you about, Data for Humanity, which like I'm in part of. So that's something that you can do if you are interested in cybersecurity. So these are the resources. So like this one, the Udemy course, that's the first picture, is the course that I personally had taken, and I taken it in 2nd September 2019. The Hack Club is a community which I have told you, which I was a part of. It's an online community. And Data for Humanity is another organization which too I'm part of, and I'm currently as the education director. And Reddit has also been really helpful. The communities and people that I've met through Reddit have been really amazing. So on additional note, like what I've been speaking about ethical hacking, what I also want to mention about this is it's seriously rigorous. So it's not something that you can just learn in some like without like uh, putting a lot of pressure. Like it's something that you need to give time, energy, and work. It's time consuming, as I said. Like for me, it took me about like 1 year, but I was like in middle school, so it really took a lot of time. But like but it still consumes a lot of times. And yeah, that's thing. And it can be boring. Like ethical hacking is not for everybody, as I told you that you would be working in a really boring environment. Like I must not say boring, but it would be quite frustrating. Like if you miss a full stop and the whole thing does not work, and you are trying to figure out like why is this thing not working. So it can be frustrating and might be boring for some people, and it might not be what you think it is. So this line is influenced like from what I've seen in movies. Like people just tap the keyboard 2 3 times and like they just get the access, and that's totally wrong, and nothing like that really happens in real life. But like with all these things, the perks of what you are achieving, being a cybersecurity expert or an ethical hacker, are also really amazing. And what you can get with a certification like this is it can it helps in landing jobs or internship. Like personally, it has helped me because like one of the internships I have applied to and like I got in, though I did not went, but like they accepted me, like, and they were really impressed by the cybersecurity part that I was involved in. And it also exhibits deep computer knowledge, that you really know how to use the whole computer and you are well acquainted with technology. So yeah, that's a thing. And attractive certification is also something that we all look forward, and putting it in a resume CV is something which is which can be helpful. Like as I said, the place where I got internship, and like they people really adored that I was involved in cybersecurity. So for involving into the ethical hacking, these are the two main things that you might be needing. Kali Linux running PC with a decent processing power, or you can also use Kali Linux through VirtualBox. And these three images are like what you are going to be working on. Though there are some tools which have some like not some, but quite a good data visualization, but mostly you would be working on these places like these three, where you just type random things and things pop out. On the second thing is a Wi-Fi adapter, and you will be needing that for SQL injection and using monitor mode. So like if I explain you what these two mean right now, that would like take a lot of time. So they are just a thing, like they are a term in ethical hacking that you'll come across really often. And like these tools, like you probably might have to buy it from Amazon, and like the price of this vary from $10 to $1,000. The one that I had was like $15, and I really have an interesting story about that. So like what just happened was like uh, the thing burst off, and it like blew off because of overheating, as I had put it on the whole night and did not switch it off. So it was just catching the data of everything in the community, like in the house, and it got so heated that it kind of like melted. So yeah, that was a problem I had with my Wi-Fi adapter, and that was pretty cheap. So, and probably that's why like I don't really like I don't really practice a lot of cybersecurity, because I don't have a decent Wi-Fi adapter right now. Now, like the thing that certainly you might be coming across would be like, should I take it as a hobby or a career? And like I've heard this really often, that people are not figuring out if they want to pursue it in university, or they just want to keep it as a hobby. And personally, for me, it's more of a hobby than I'm planning to take it as a career. And it's really important to like to know at this part that if you want this to be a hobby or a career. And okay, I think the atmosphere is maybe not so chill, so just to make it a little, just to cool the environment, I have just put some two memes again. And this one, the second one is I really feel that it's funny. I guess I can continue. And And yeah, so the opportunity, let me talk about the opportunities you have now. So the types of roles for a cybersecurity enthusiastic are like security specialist, incident responder. That this the incident responder, I am currently that, like I had taken a course on that one through Coursera. Security analyst is also a thing, and most of the people who are into cybersecurity are security analysts, and their major work is to work for companies and analyze all the vulnerabilities and exploit them for their own betterment. Security administrator and security manager are something like they are kind of correlated. I don't know why they have two names, but they almost the work they do is the same. The security auditors only work is to see if the whole security management of the company is proper or not. And finally, we have the forensic expert. Like if you are working for a company like FBI, CI, and something, so you might be a forensic expert, and your work would be like to see where the problems have come, and you and like it's more of the forensic parts of cybersecurity. Oops. And yeah, lastly, freelancing as a remote intern is also a thing. I see a lot of people who have been doing this, and you can surely be a remote intern from any place on earth and freelance for a company, and you can just cold email them and get a opportunity to work for them. And lastly, like to conclude, I know I have taken like more than 15 minutes, I guess 20 minutes or so. So concluding, if you want to join, if you want to learn more about cybersecurity and how things really work, I extremely recommend you to join this organization, Data for Humanity. And I personally have been into this organization, and I currently am, and the team and what they are working on is just amazing. The dedication and commitment that everyone is giving is really, really, really amazing. And if you want to like know more about what's cybersecurity, or you want to do a story, then I surely recommend you to check out this organization, Data for Humanity. And yeah, so I guess I'll finish off with this, and I hope you might all like I hope I'm not bored you like hell up until now, because I've been just speaking. So yeah, now if you have any questions, I'll be really happy to entertain them.
Okay, so for those of you that maybe didn't have as much like experience, like if there were like some terms that you didn't know, it's fine. We're going to be making a post and like sending you some more like resources for you to kind of like get a better understanding of like what he talked about, but also like some resources for you to like join and like kind of get more involved into like the field of cybersecurity and ethical hacking to see if like you really want to go, if this would be like a path for you. But in terms of like questions that I've received, is what are some like misconceptions about like these field? Like I think one big common one is that like you have to be like really good at like math or science, you know? So would you like to
Right. Right. So yeah, I see a lot of misconceptions among them, and like I'll be addressing a few right now. Can you, before I dive into the question, can you let me know like if my screen is audible or like if my screen is like you can see my screen or not?
yes, your screen is in speaker view.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I see a lot of misconceptions, and one of them, like as I told you, like people just come up to me and say that, can you like I need someone's Instagram account and password, like can you do something? And I'm like, hell no. And yeah, this is one of the misconceptions that you can just get into access to any website as you become a hacker. Another misconception that I see is like you need to be really good academically, and personally that's not the case, like because like I'm not the best person in my school or class, but still like I'm quite okay with what I'm doing with cybersecurity and ethical hacking. And I hardly see that if you need any math or science in this, what you might need, what the only qualification, not even qualification, but the only thing that you need to be acquainted with is like a good computer, and you can like with good computer skills, and you can just take a good course on Udemy, Coursera, and you can just learn anything.
I agree with that. Like in his presentation where like he talked about requirements where like a Wi-Fi adapter or like a Linux running PC. If you don't have that, don't let that stop you. Like watch some YouTube videos. We'll send you some links to like some resources, and you can see for yourself and just kind of like get a feel for it. You don't have to have like that all of those like necessary equipment or stuff. We
And
will be running a little over as well, time-wise. So if you have to leave early, it's fine. We will be sending the recording to you. Um, our one question from the audience is, would there be a market for companies to hire hackers to hack into their systems in order to expose vulnerabilities? It would seem that those hackers would need to be independent in order to get the most accurate security assessment.
Right. So yeah. So agreeing, like answering the question, like companies like Microsoft, Google, and all the FANG and big companies already hire a lot of hackers, and they just ask them to like explore the whole software and exploit the vulnerabilities, and they pay. So there are two types of hackers: white hat hackers and black hat hackers. One field of hackers are into like they are hired by the company for like exploiting the vulnerabilities of their own systems, and the other ones are like they are like independent hackers, and they just do that for fun, or maybe to like to blackmail people or to get money out of to get money out of it. So there's seriously like there is like companies do hire hackers, and like if you go on LinkedIn and search for like if you know how to search for the like specifically, then you can see that like hackers are working with like qualifications into like the big fan companies.
Thank you for that. We have another question from the audience. It's, what do you think of Edward Snowden? Is he a hero or a villain?
Okay, personally, if I'm honest, I don't really know like who that guy is. If the person is like, if the like, I don't really know, so I can't comment.
No worries. He was like a scientist. Um,
Okay.
Another question is like, how do you feel that the field, like ever since COVID, like how do you think this field has been like impacted by COVID? Like, what do you see will happen with this field in like the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it see the like with the impact of COVID, I and we all of us have seen everything moving online with like with Zoom meetings, and everything's have been gone up to the cloud cloud systems, and like the with electric cars coming, and the automation that we are seeing in industries, and the reliance on Alexa machines and everything, like everyone has switched to digital places, and it has been really good for that the hackers, because like they are getting more, what do we say, the like people to exploit, and it's also good for cybersecurity people because the demand for them is also increasing, and personally I see the demand for ethical hackers and cybersecurity expert is like really amazing, and like not long ago did I see that like having a PhD in cybersecurity is one of the most sought after jobs in USA. So like you can probably guess that having a cybersecurity degree is like really amazing, and it's going to be the future, and the future needs some guardians of like the places where they keep their data, and that's where cybersecurity people come in.
Thank you. Can you talk about if there was something you could change about the field, what would you change?
Yeah, surely. So, like personally, what I've seen is like the user interface. Like I've talked about this a lot, like twice or thrice in the meeting, that it's really bad and not so much encouraging for like new people to come up and learn this, because like typing stuff in command prompt and or terminal is like really tiring. So, what I could change would be probably the user interface and probably make it to like one of the sci-fi movies that we have, like where you just tap some buttons and you gain access.
Okay. Next question. Um, what do you wish like because like you said you started a little like you started in middle school, like taking that course. Like now with like the knowledge that you have, what do you wish you had known sooner? Or like what would you wish that like having like knowing this certain aspect of that would kind of make like it easier for you to like get more involved, like be better into in this field.
Right, right. So yeah, as I told you earlier that like the teachers were not much into cybersecurity. My parents are not so tech savvy, and my friends don't know a thing about computers. So I was all alone when I was like learning about stuff. When I was in middle school, like I was in eighth grade, and probably then I was not aware like there's something about Reddit, and there are online communities, there are hack clubs, there are hackathons. So I basically did not meet any people. I was the only person who was doing stuff about cybersecurity without knowing like what's happening worldwide, and like what age of people are it's meant for. So if I were to go back in time and like suggest myself something, I would surely suggest myself to like some resources that would help me. Like one of them is hack club, where I met new people, and yeah, that's one of the places. And another places would be Reddit, where I could post any queries rather than just searching Google for stuff.
Okay, and this will be our last question today before we finish this webinar. And this is what are some of the challenges in this career field that it's facing? Like, what would you say is like the biggest challenge that this field is facing right now?
Right. So, like, let me phrase something which I read like a long ago. So, a hacker needs to be successful one time, but a cybersecurity expert needs to be successful every time. So, like, you need to be vigilant all the time. And can you please phrase? Can you please just repeat the question so that I like address it
Yeah,
exactly?
like what is a challenge? Like one of the biggest challenges that this field is facing?
Right. So the field, like as I told you, that the hacker needs to be correct one times, and the cybersecurity guy needs to be like vigilant all the time. So many of the one of the challenges would be the learning procedure, because it's like the I don't want to stress this thing so much, but like learning it is not so easy, and so we don't really have a lot of cybersecurity experts. And like if someone is cybersecurity expert and an ethical hacker, and the hacker, the one who is the hacker guy, has like a choice with himself, like if he wants to be an ethical hacker, or like he wants to be an independent hacker who wants to exploit the systems. So one of the challenges that I might say is that there's not a lot of people who know about about security. And like in general, people like it's mostly, if it's you probably don't know where your data is going. And the governments are also not so much talking about cybersecurity and the data, that FANG companies, or like, and many companies just exploit your data. So there are some challenges that the community is facing, and one of them is certainly not a lot of people being in this industry.
Well, those are all our questions so far today. And thank you so much, Anushka, for coming to speak with us. To our attendees, the Anush contact information, like ways to contact him, are in the chat, and it will also be sent to you. Be on the lookout for your email for like additional resources and information for you to get more involved into like the field of cybersecurity and ethical hacking. And if you haven't followed us on Instagram, make sure that you're following us, and you'll be getting like posts about like our other events as well. And I want to thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to come and attend this webinar. And that's it for now. So you guys can have a nice day.
Yeah, thanks a lot everyone for joining. Have a nice day.